Okay, so let's talk Lakers Suns. The big question is, of course, LeBron's ankle. He's got a few days to rest. I don't think the Suns have any way of stopping LeBron and AD. Phoenix is a very good defensive team this year. I think a lot of that was through communication, rotations, playing hard, and Deandre Ayton getting better, and Mikal Bridges maybe being an all-defense guy. And, the addition of Jay Crowder was solid as well and stuff. And Chris Paul, of course. But it's just different going up against LeBron and AD. I mean, for one, we saw what Draymond did to AD in the play-in game. I don't think Phoenix has anybody like that. I mean, Crowder will try, and you could try some Mikal Bridges coming out of nowhere to try to block AD's shot with his alien arms. Don't think that's going to super work. I don't think they have anybody who can slow down LeBron much. I mean, Mikal Bridges is, 215 pounds at the most? That's not going to work. Jay Crowder's defended LeBron many times. That's never worked. And, everything I just said about AD. So I don't know. I think the best chance the Suns have of defending the Lakers is just doing such a good job of scrambling out to their shooters and forcing them to then take it off the dribble, and you just keep the drive and kick going long enough until there's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Because I just don't know what else it's going to be. Sure, LeBron doesn't have an obvious mismatch guy. I mean, in terms of size, I guess it could be Chris Paul, but CP holds up well against guys bigger than him, of course. So that's nice, but I still don't super believe in Phoenix to defend the Lakers. I mean, you think about Deandre Ayton, and is he going to be able to defend LeBron getting screens from Drummond and stuff? I mean, there's a conversation about the Lakers' bigs in terms of defending Chris Paul, and we'll get to that. But if I'm just thinking about Drummond sets a screen for LeBron, Ayton's got to step up on that, how's it going to go? I mean, I imagine you don't want to switch that, and so then it's going to be you're going to hedge, and you're going to run back to get to Drummond. I mean, let's see. Let's see how Ayton deals with that. And if it's AD at center, then I think that gets kind of scary because it might open up the possibility of the Suns not being able to switch the LeBron AD screen. Because when AD is a power forward, I'm going to guess the Suns will arrange the matchups to where they can switch that action. But when AD's at center and you have Ayton defending him, it's going to be a little tougher to do that. So to me, it's just going to once again come back to you load up on LeBron and AD to the point where they have to pass, and then you just hope that you get a little lucky with missed threes, and you can close out to Caruso, Kuzma, Matthews, KCP, Schroeder, all of these guys. But even then, that's only going to take you so far. I mean, you have to be able to slow down LeBron and AD in some way, or you just match them on offense, and it's just looking tough for Phoenix to be able to do that. If we can talk about now how the Suns can go at the Lakers, the obvious, of course, is just pick and rolls at their big guys with Booker and CP. With CP, it'll be mainly the pull-up mid-range. With Booker, it'll be whatever he wants it to be. Pull-up three, pull-up mid, try to get by the guy if he steps up on the screen, whatever it might be. So that's Drummond, Gasol, Montrez. And I think those two could have a lot of success there, which could put the pressure on the Lakers to go to AD at center earlier than they really like to. That said, I'm just assuming they will. I mean, Frank Vogel, maybe at times he's been a little too resistant to go to AD at the 5, but he's always gotten to it eventually. So I'm just assuming if he has to, then he will. And I don't know if CP or Booker are going to be able to score in the pick and roll enough if it's AD that they're going at. I mean, the interesting thing would be if you could then turn that into a mismatch for Ayton, where it's he's being now defended by KCP or Schroeder or whoever it might be that the Lakers would have on the initial defender on Chris Paul or Booker. And we'd have to see if Ayton could then really go to work in the post. And I do want to focus on Ayton for a little bit before I get back to Booker and CP. I think Ayton is going to have to be a monster in this series for them to have a chance. I think he is going to have to dominate on the offensive glass and the defensive glass for that matter. And while I do think Deandre Ayton can be a very good player, and he had moments as the season was closing out for the Suns, I just feel like it might be asking too much of him right now. I mean, if the Suns would have gotten a normal 7 seed, then I think they very much could have won and Ayton could have been really good for them. But in this series specifically, I don't know, man. I mean, if he's getting matched up with AD, that's going to be really tough, mainly when AD is at center. When he's matched up with Drummond, Montrez, and Gasol, if Gasol plays much, I mean, he better win those matchups. You know, he better not get out-rebounded. He better be able to score on those guys sometimes in the post. I don't know if the Suns are going to give it to him all the time in those scenarios, like just a post up out of nowhere. But I imagine it's going to happen sometimes, you know. And the big thing with it for Ayton is because the Suns, even as they were very good this season, finished 5th in offensive rating, all that nice stuff, they still didn't get that much stuff at the rim. You know, they were like second to last in the league in free throw attempts per game. I think they were dead last in restricted area attempts per game. And when you've got LeBron rotating and you've got AD patrolling the paint and sometimes the Lakers having another big guy around the middle as well, I just don't know if the Suns are going to be able to score enough. I mean, sure, Booker, like I said, I think he can get by the Lakers' big guys not named AD on screens. I think he can beat a lot of the Lakers guys in ISOs. Similar thing with Chris Paul. But eventually you're just going to have that front court waiting for you. And I think, you know, Booker's got to be willing to draw contact. And, I mean, Chris Paul as well. But, I mean, at this point in his career, CP 35, like, the guy just doesn't shoot a lot of free throws, you know. Over half of his shots are from mid-range. So this is why I call on Deandre Ayton again. Like, I think Ayton's free throw attempts need to be really high in this series. I'm talking, like, at least 7 a game or something. But again, there's that conversation of how much are the Suns really going to throw him the ball in the post? And even if they do, is he going to be physical or is he going to go to his 12-foot turnaround jumper all day? Now, the one thing you can say with Phoenix, which could make it a little tougher for the Lakers to just load up on the paint the way they want to, is they've got a lot of good shooters. You know, Bridges over 40%, Cam Johnson is good, Jay Crowder 39%, Torrey Craig even 37%, and, you know, Dario Saric, he was making his threes kind of this year, and maybe that would make LeBron hesitant a little bit to do his normal free roaming thing, and if AD is defending Crowder at power forward, then maybe he won't be able to just stand in front of the basket like he would really like to. Even so, I'm going to assume the Lakers will find a way to still have LeBron and AD in front of the rim while being able to close out to those shooters. But still, with as good of a passer as Chris Paul is, I think there's definitely going to be more times than average for the Lakers that we will see them give up some open corner threes and that sort of thing. Because most guys just, they don't see it right away, whereas CP, of course, will. I think the Suns could also try having Booker moving off ball just to throw something different at the Lakers. I also feel like the Suns are going to need to do really well on cuts and that sort of thing. Just any way to generate more stuff at the basket. I guess they could also just attack the offensive glass like a group, but that hasn't been a big thing with them this year. Yeah, man, I think the Lakers are going to win. I don't think I'm being anti-Suns or anything. This is a very different case of a title contender falling to number 7. So, yeah, I'm going to pick them to win. And Phoenix, they had a great season, and it sucks that, in my opinion, it's going to end in round 1. In a normal year, they probably get to round 2, maybe even the conference finals, but this was not a normal season. So, yeah, man, that's what I'm going with. Lakers in 5, 6, I don't know.